Jackie was a young boy. He lived in a small village with his family. His house was made of wood and had a tin roof. His father worked in the rice fields. His mother looked after the home and the animals. They were a poor family, but they were kind and strong. Every morning, Jackie walked to school. The school was small. It had only 2 classrooms. There were many students, but only one teacher. The desks were old. The blackboard was broken. Sometimes there was no chalk. But Jackie still went to school every day. He wanted to learn. Most of the children in Jackie's village spoke only their local language. English was difficult for them. They had no good books. They had no internet. But Jackie was different. He didn't have much, but he had a dream. He wanted to speak English. He didn't know why, but he believed English could open doors for him. Maybe one day it could help him go to the city. Maybe one day he could become a teacher or even help others. Then, one day, something amazing happened. A woman came to their school. She was not from the village. She had kind eyes and a bright smile. Her name was Miss Theory. She was a special teacher from the town. She came to help children in poor villages. She spoke very good English. When Jackie heard her speak, he felt something inside him. He had never heard English like that before. It sounded like music. He wanted to speak like her one day. Miss Theory watched the students carefully. She saw that Jackie listened with full attention. She tried to repeat her words. She asked questions. She stayed back after class. She saw that he had something special. Not talent, but effort. After a few days, Miss Theory called Jackie. She said, "I see you are trying very hard. Would you like some extra help with English?" Jackie nodded quickly. "Yes, please," he said, with wide eyes. So every afternoon, after the other students went home, Jackie stayed. Miss Theory gave him simple reading books. She taught him new words. She helped him with pronunciation. Jackie listened, repeated, and learned. Sometimes he made mistakes. Sometimes he forgot words. But Miss Theory was always patient. She said, "Don't worry, Jackie. Every mistake is a step forward. You are learning." Jackie felt happy. He was not the smartest student, but he was learning, and someone believed in him. One day, Miss Theory told the class something exciting. "There is going to be a speech competition in the town school," she said. "It is for students from many villages. You will speak in English about something important to you." Jackie's heart jumped. A speech? In front of people? In English? He felt afraid. His hands felt cold. But Miss Theory looked at Jackie and said gently, "You should try. I believe you can do it." That evening, Jackie walked home slowly. He kept thinking about the speech. Could he really do it? Could a poor boy from a small village stand on a stage and speak English? When he reached home, he told his parents about the competition. His mother didn't fully understand. His father asked, "What is a speech competition?" Jackie tried to explain. He said, "I will go to the town and talk in English in front of teachers and judges." His father looked at him with soft eyes. He didn't say much, but he smiled. "Try your best," he said. "We're proud of you, no matter what." Jackie felt strong inside. His parents didn't know much about competitions, but they believed in him. That was enough. He made a decision. He would join the competition. He would stand on that stage and speak, not just for himself, but for his family, for his village, and for every child who thought they couldn't do it. And this was just the beginning. The next day at school, Jackie met Miss Theory. She smiled and said, "Have you thought about your speech topic?" Jackie nodded slowly. "Yes, miss. I want to talk about dreams, about how even a poor village boy can dream of a better life." Miss Theory's smile grew wider. "That's a beautiful idea," she said. "It's your story. That will touch people's hearts." Jackie felt nervous, but excited. He had never spoken in front of a big crowd, but he wanted to try. So the next few weeks became different for Jackie. Every day after school, he stayed back to practice. The classroom was empty. The wooden chairs were quiet. Jackie stood in front of the blackboard and read his speech aloud. His voice was soft at first. He made mistakes. He forgot words. Sometimes he even felt silly talking to an empty room. But Miss Theory helped him every day. She corrected his pronunciation. She taught him where to pause. She showed him how to look up and make eye contact, not just read from the paper. She said, "Don't just speak. Feel what you are saying. Speak from your heart." At night, Jackie practiced again. At home, he stood in front of a small mirror. The mirror had cracks, but he didn't mind. He watched his face. He looked at how he smiled, how he moved his hands, how his eyes looked when he spoke. His little sister sat nearby. She didn't understand everything, but she clapped after every practice. "You speak so well, brother," she said. Jackie smiled. Her words made him stronger. But not everyone was kind. One day, a classmate said, "You think you'll win this competition? There are students from big towns. They have real teachers and better schools. You don't stand a chance." Those words hurt Jackie. He felt a heavy feeling in his chest. Doubt returned. What if they were right? What if he failed? But then he closed his eyes and remembered the camp. He remembered how other students clapped for him. He remembered how Miss Theory had believed in him from the very beginning. He remembered her words, "You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be brave." So Jackie kept going. He practiced more. He stood taller. His voice grew stronger. Then the day of the competition arrived. Jackie woke up early. He wore his best clothes. They were clean but simple. He brushed his hair carefully. His mother packed him a small bag with snacks. His father gave him a strong pat on the back. "No matter what happens," his mother said softly, "you are already a winner to us." Jackie smiled and nodded. His parents walked him to the edge of the village. They couldn't go to the competition, but they stood waving until the truck disappeared around the bend. The event was held in a large school in the nearby town. Jackie had never seen a place so big. There were more than 20 students from different villages and towns. Some wore shiny shoes and fancy clothes. Some had practiced slides and perfect accents. Jackie had only his voice and his story. He felt nervous. His hands were cold. His legs felt weak. But then he remembered his dream. When his name was called, he stood up. Slowly, he walked to the stage. The lights were bright. The room was full. The judges were watching. The students were listening. Jackie took a deep breath. He looked at the crowd. Then he began. My name is Jakey. I come from a small village where most people don't speak English, but I believe that dreams can grow anywhere. His voice was not loud, but it was honest. It was full of feeling. He spoke about his family, his school, and his dream. He told them how he studied with a broken lamp, how he learned English with help from Miss Theory, and how he practiced in front of a mirror every night. He talked about failing but not giving up. He talked about hope. When he finished, there was silence. Then slowly, people began to clap. It grew louder and louder. Jakey smiled. He didn't know if he had won, but he had done it. He had spoken his truth. After all the speeches were over, the judges came forward. They announced the winners. Jakey didn't win first place, but then the head judge said, "We have a special award today for the most inspiring speech." And they called Jakey's name. Jakey's heart stopped for a moment. He walked to the stage, shaking. They gave him a small certificate. It said, "For courage, honesty, and hope." The room clapped again. Jakey looked at the certificate in his hands. It was small, but it felt big. He had proved something, not just to others, but to himself. When he came back to the village, Miss Theory was waiting for him at the school gate. "You did it," she said with a proud smile. Jakey nodded, his eyes shining. "I didn't win the competition," he said softly, "but I won something else. I won a second chance to believe in myself." After the speech competition, life slowly returned to normal. But something inside Jakey had changed. He felt more confident. He now believed in himself more than before. Then came the most important time of his school life, the national exam. This exam was very serious. If Jakey passed, he could apply for a scholarship and study in a big school in the city. If he failed, he would have to stay in the village and work on the farm. There was no second chance. Jakey studied hard. Every night, he sat at his small wooden table. His father had made this table many years ago. The lamp beside him flickered, but Jakey didn't stop reading. He went over grammar, vocabulary, math formulas, and writing practice. He didn't play. He didn't waste time. He knew this test could change his life. On the night before the exam, Jakey looked outside his window. The moon was bright. The village was quiet. Everyone was sleeping, but Jakey couldn't sleep. He was thinking too much. "Have I done enough?" he whispered to himself. "What if I forget everything tomorrow?" Then he remembered Miss Theory's words. "Don't fear the result. Trust your effort." That helped him feel calm. He closed his books and tried to sleep. The next morning, the sun rose slowly. Jakey woke up early, washed his face, and wore his clean school uniform. His mother gave him a small cloth bag with snacks. His father didn't say much. He just gave Jakey a strong pat on the back. Their eyes said it all. "We believe in you." Jakey rode to the exam center in the back of an old truck with other students. Nobody talked much. Everyone was nervous. When they arrived, they saw a big school building. Some students were reading their notes. Some were praying. Jackie closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He told himself, "You've worked hard. Now give your best." The bell rang. Jackie sat inside the exam room. It was cold and quiet. The desks were lined up in rows. A serious-looking woman walked in. She was the invigilator. She gave each student a test paper and said, "Do not open until I say." Jackie looked at the paper in front of him. His hands were a little sweaty. His legs felt heavy. He said a small prayer, not for luck, but for focus. "Begin," she said. Jackie opened the paper. The first part was English, his favorite. He smiled. He answered grammar questions, vocabulary, and reading comprehension. Next came math, his weak point, but he didn't panic. When he got stuck, he closed his eyes, breathed deeply, and remembered what Miss Theory had taught him. Don't rush. Think slowly. You can do it. Hour after hour passed. Jackie wrote and thought and checked his answers. His hand started to hurt. His eyes felt tired, but he didn't stop. Then came the final part, the essay. Jackie read the topic. Write about a personal goal. His heart jumped. He knew exactly what to write. He wrote about his dream of becoming a teacher to help poor village children like himself. He wrote about Miss Theory. He wrote about believing in dreams and never giving up. His words were simple, but they were full of heart. Finally, the bell rang. The exam was over. Jackie walked out of the room. He felt tired but also light. He didn't know if he had passed, but he knew one thing. He had done his best. That night, his family welcomed him with hugs and a warm meal. His little sister asked, "Did you win?" Jackie smiled and said, "I don't know yet, but I didn't give up. That's what matters." It was the best sleep Jackie had in many weeks. Weeks passed. Jackie returned to his normal life. He helped his father on the farm. He fed the chickens. He walked his sister to school. But every day he waited for the exam results. Then one morning, Miss Theory stood outside the classroom with a big smile and a paper in her hand. "The exam results are here," she said. All the students ran to the board. Jackie's heart pounded. He was too scared to look. But Miss Theory touched his shoulder gently and said, "Jackie, you did it. You passed. Not just passed. You are in the top 5% in the region." Jackie was shocked. He couldn't speak. He walked slowly to the board and read his name. It was real. His name was there, next to the words, "Top 5%, eligible for scholarship interview." His classmates clapped for him. Even the students who once laughed at him now smiled. One said, "Well done, Jackie. You really worked hard." Jackie felt proud, not proud to show off, but proud that his effort had paid off. He remembered all the late nights, the cold mornings, the doubts, and now it was all worth it. At home, his mother saw his face. She didn't ask, she just hugged him tightly. "I knew you would make us proud," she whispered. His father gave a strong nod. "You've done well, son. You've opened a door." The news spread quickly. People in the village started to treat Jackie differently. "You're the boy who passed the national exam, right?" a shopkeeper said. "We heard you're getting a scholarship," said the village headman. Jackie felt shy, but deep inside, he felt something stronger. Hope. Soon, a letter came from the scholarship office. Jackie was invited to the city for an interview. Miss Theory helped him prepare. She asked him practice questions. She helped him choose his best clothes. Before he left, she gave him a small notebook and said, "Write your story. One day it may inspire others." In the city, everything looked big. There were tall buildings, loud traffic, and bright lights. But Jackie stayed calm. During the interview, they asked, "Why do you want this scholarship?" Jackie looked at them and said clearly, "Because I want to become a teacher and help students like me." I believe every child, even in a poor village, should have a chance to dream." The room was silent for a moment. Then one of the interviewers smiled. A week later, a final letter arrived. Jackie had been chosen. He was accepted into the best school in the region. Everything would be paid for: books, food, housing, even his clothes. Jackie held the letter in his hands and cried, not because he was sad, but because he was full of joy. He walked outside and looked up at the stars. "This is only the beginning," he whispered. After one full year of studying at the big school in the city, Jackie returned to his village for the holidays. As the bus stopped on the old dirt road, Jackie stepped down and looked around. The green rice fields, the small wooden houses, and the dusty streets all looked the same. But Jackie had changed. He was no longer the shy village boy. He had learned new things, met new people, and grown stronger. But even after all that, he didn't feel bigger or better than anyone. He felt thankful. Jackie's bag was full of books. His heart was full of ideas. The first place he visited was his old school. The building still had broken windows. The same scratched desks were there. But the classroom was full of bright young faces, students who looked at him with wide eyes. They had heard about him. The boy who once failed but didn't give up. The one who passed the national exam and got a scholarship to a big city school. Miss Theory welcomed him with a warm smile. "The children look up to you now," she said. "They need someone like you." Jackie nodded. "Can I help teach them during my break?" he asked. And so, every morning, Jackie came to the school, not as a student, but as a helper. He helped teach English, simple math, and study tips. He told stories about life in the city, about how hard work helped him reach his dream. He spoke to the students in a kind and simple way. He didn't use big words. He used words they could understand. The students started listening more. They asked questions. They stayed after class. They started trying harder. One little boy stood up and said, "I want to be like you, Kaki." Jackie smiled and said, "You can. You just need to believe in yourself and never give up." But Jackie didn't stop there. In the afternoons, he helped his parents on the farm. He carried water with his mother. He repaired the broken fence. He showed his father a new way to grow vegetables, something he had learned in science class at his new school. Jackie also started something new. In the evenings, when it was getting dark, he went to the village monastery. He cleaned the empty room and set up small tables and chairs. He brought candles for light, because some of the children had no electricity at home. Then he started a study group. At first, only a few children came, but soon more joined. Every evening, the room was full. Jackie helped them with homework, explained difficult lessons, and gave advice about exams and learning. The room was full of laughter, learning, and hope. One village elder saw what he was doing and said, "He went to the city to learn, but he came back to teach." Jackie felt proud, not proud of himself, but proud of his people, proud of the students who now believed they could have a better future. One day, Jackie gathered the children under a big tree near the school. He gave a short talk. He said, "I was just like you. I had no special skills. I was poor. I failed once, but I didn't give up. Now, I study in a school I never thought I would reach. You can do the same. Start small. Keep going. And one day, you will fly." Some children clapped. Some cried. Parents came to thank Jackie. One mother said, "My son never cared about school before. Now he studies every night. Thank you for waking up his dream." Jackie felt something deep inside. It was more than happiness. It was a feeling of purpose. He now understood something important. Success is not only about going far. It is also about coming back and helping others rise. Before returning to the city, the villagers gathered to say goodbye. They gave Jackie a simple but special gift, a wooden pen holder made from a local tree. On it, they had carved the words, "For the one who came back with light." Jackie held the gift in his hands and made a promise to himself. "No matter where I go, I will always return. I will always help." His journey had started with a dream. Now it had become something greater, a mission to change lives, one child at a time. Years passed. Jackie finished his studies at the city school. He worked hard, passed all his exams, and finally became what he had always dreamed of, a teacher. Not only that, but Jackie also wrote a small book about his life. In the book, he shared his story about his struggles, his failures, his dreams, and how he never gave up. The book became popular in many villages. People started talking about the young man from a small village who had become an inspiration. More students from nearby villages wanted to learn from Jackie. Some even walked long distances just to sit in his class. His old school changed too. It now had better chairs, more books, and more students than ever before. But Jackie stayed the same. He didn't become proud or show off. He didn't move to a big house or buy expensive things. Instead, he still lived in the village. He still helped his parents in the garden. He still walked to school every morning with a smile. One evening, after teaching all day, Jackie sat outside his small home. The sky was full of stars. The wind was soft. The night was peaceful. Jackie looked up at the stars and asked himself a question. What is success? When he was a boy, he thought success meant escaping the village. He thought success was about being rich, living in the city, or having a shiny car. But now, after everything he had experienced, Jackie understood something deeper. Success was not about money. It was not about being famous. It was not about having more than others. Success, he realized, was about growth. It was about how far he had come, from a scared boy who failed his English exam to a teacher who helped hundreds of children. Success was about belief, believing in himself when others laughed, and trusting his dreams even when it was hard. And most of all, success was about helping others, lifting others up so they too could believe, learn, and dream. He thought about the children in his class. Some came without shoes, some came hungry, but their eyes were full of dreams. Jackie saw himself in them. When they smiled, when they understood a new word, when they whispered, "Thank you, teacher," Jackie felt something magical, something that no money could buy. That, he thought, was real success. One day, a news reporter came to visit the school. She had heard about the village teacher who had inspired so many students. She asked him, "Do you feel successful now?" Jackie smiled gently and said, "Yes, but not because of what I have. I feel successful because I never gave up. I feel successful because I help others. I feel successful because I wake up every day with a purpose." The reporter nodded and asked, "What advice would you give young people today?" Jackie thought for a moment. Then he said slowly, "Believe in yourself even when no one else does. Work hard. Be kind. And remember, success is not something you take, it is something you give." After the reporter left, Jackie walked back to his classroom. The children ran to him, laughing and calling out, "Teacher! Teacher!" He laughed with them and picked up a piece of chalk. Another lesson was about to begin. But deep inside, Jackie knew something important. The most important lesson was not written on the board. It was written in his life. Success is not a place you reach. It is a journey. It is becoming better than you were yesterday. It is lifting others as you rise. It is staying true to yourself no matter how far you go. And in that quiet moment, standing in his simple village, surrounded by smiling children, Jackie felt something he would never forget. He had truly succeeded. After many years, Jackie had become a well-respected teacher in his village and the surrounding areas. He didn't stop learning or helping others. Every day, he worked hard to be a better teacher and a better person. Jackie knew that education was a powerful tool. It could change lives, just as it had changed his own. He wanted every child in his village to have a chance to learn and dream, no matter how poor or far away they were. Even though he was busy teaching, Jackie found time to organize activities outside the classroom. He helped start a small library in the village where children could borrow books and read stories. Many children who had never held a book before were excited to explore new worlds through reading. Jackie also worked with the village leaders to improve the school. Together they fixed broken windows, painted the walls, and added more desks. Jackie helped raise money by asking for donations from nearby towns and friends he had made during his studies. One important thing Jackie did was to encourage the older students to help younger children. He believed that when students teach others, they learn even more. This created a caring community where everyone supported each other. Jackie often visited the homes of students who struggled. Sometimes children could not come to school because they were needed to work on the farm or take care of their siblings. Jackie talked with their parents and helped find ways so the children could still attend school. Every year, Jackie celebrated the success of his students. He organized small parties where children showed their skills, singing, reading poems, and sharing stories. Parents came to watch, proud of their children's progress. These celebrations inspired many families to send their children to school. Jackie's story reached other villages. Sometimes teachers from far away visited his school to learn from him. They wanted to know how he made the children so excited about learning. Jackie always said, "Teaching is more than just books. It is about caring, believing, and giving hope." He also never forgot his own beginnings. Jackie still helped his parents on the farm and joined village celebrations. He stayed humble and kind, showing his students that success is about balance, working hard, but staying connected to where you come from. One day, Jackie was invited to speak at a big education conference in the city. He was nervous but proud. He shared his journey, from a small village boy who struggled in school to a teacher who helped hundreds of children learn and dream. His speech inspired many teachers and leaders. They realized that even small villages could produce great success stories if given the right support and care. Back in his village, Jackie continued to work every day. He knew the road ahead was long, but he was ready. Because success, he believed, is not the end. It is a journey of learning, growing, and helping others. And Jackie was determined to walk that path for the rest of his life. Years passed, and Jackie grew older and wiser. He finished his studies and became a teacher full-time. Many students came to his classroom from different villages. Some traveled for hours just to learn from him. Jackie's school changed too. It had more books, better chairs, and brighter classrooms. The village felt proud of his young teacher. But even with all this change, Jackie stayed simple and humble. Every morning, Jackie still woke up early. He helped his parents in their small garden. He walked to school with a smile, ready to teach. One quiet evening, after a long day, Jackie sat outside his small house. The stars were shining bright in the dark sky. The air was calm, and the village was silent. He looked up at the sky and started thinking deeply. What is success? He asked himself quietly. When Jackie was young, he thought success meant having a big house, a fancy car, and living in a big city. He believed success was about being rich and famous. But now, after everything he had done, he understood something very different. Success was not about money or power. It was about growth, how much he had learned and improved. It was about belief, how he never gave up even when others doubted him. Most of all, success was about helping others, lifting people up so they could reach their dreams too. Jackie remembered the children in his classroom. Some had no shoes. Some came hungry. But their eyes were full of hope and dreams. He saw himself in them, a boy who once struggled but now helped others. Every time a student smiled because they understood a new word or solved a problem, Jackie felt something magical inside. That, he thought, was real success. One day, a reporter came to Jackie's school. She wanted to learn about the teacher who inspired so many students. "Do you feel successful now?" she asked him. Jackie smiled gently. "Yes," he said. "Not because of what I have, but because I never gave up. Because I helped others. And because I wake up every day with a purpose." The reporter nodded and asked, "What advice do you have for young people?" Jackie thought carefully and said, "Believe in yourself even if no one else does. Work hard, be kind. Remember, success is not something you take for yourself. It is something you give to others." After she left, Jackie went back to his classroom. The children ran to him, laughing and calling, "Teacher, teacher." He laughed with them and picked up a piece of chalk. Another lesson was about to begin. But inside, Jackie knew the most important lesson was already written, not on the board, but in his life. Success is not a place you reach. It is a journey. It is becoming better than you were yesterday. It is helping others as you grow. It is staying true to yourself no matter how far you go. And in that quiet moment, surrounded by smiling children and the simple village he loved, Jackie felt something he would never forget. He had truly succeeded. After many years, Jackie's life continued to change, but his heart stayed connected to his village and his people. He had become a well-respected teacher, known far beyond his small home. Jackie did not forget where he came from. Even though he could have moved to a big city or taken a better-paying job, he chose to stay in the village. He believed his work was most important there, helping children who needed support and hope. Every morning, Jackie woke up early and walked through the quiet village streets to the school. The sun was just rising, and the air was fresh and cool. Children waited eagerly for him outside the school gates. Their faces showed excitement and curiosity. In the classroom, Jackie greeted each student with a warm smile. He used simple language to teach English, math, and science. But more than lessons, Jackie taught something special. He taught belief. He told the children stories about his own journey, the struggles he had, the times he felt scared, and the moments he almost gave up. He wanted the children to understand that success is not easy, but it is possible if they keep trying. He showed them how to study step by step. He helped them practice speaking English slowly and clearly. He encouraged them to ask questions and not be afraid to make mistakes. One day, Jackie noticed that some children did not have enough school supplies. Their books were torn, and they had no notebooks to write in. Jackie decided to organize a small community fund. He talked to local people and friends who had moved to the city, asking for help. Slowly, the village came together to support the children. They gave money for new books, pencils, and uniforms. Jackie was proud, but he knew this was just the beginning. He started a weekend study group in the village monastery. There, children and teenagers gathered to learn by candlelight. Jackie brought extra books and worksheets. He explained difficult lessons again and again until everyone understood. Parents began to notice changes. Their children became more confident and started dreaming bigger dreams. One mother said to Jackie, "My son never cared about school before. Now he studies every night. Thank you for waking up his dream." Jackie smiled quietly, feeling a deep joy. It was not just about teaching, it was about changing lives. He continued to visit other nearby villages. He shared his story and helped teachers improve their skills. Jackie believed that education was the key to breaking the cycle of poverty. Sometimes Jackie faced challenges. The village had few resources and many families were struggling, but he never lost hope. He remembered the words of his teacher, Miss Theory. Small steps lead to big changes. Jackie's story spread, inspiring many others to believe in education and hard work. One day, a news reporter came to visit Jackie's school. She had heard about the teacher from the village who inspired hundreds of students. "Do you feel successful now?" she asked Jackie. Jackie smiled gently. "Yes," he said, "but not because of what I have. I feel successful because I never gave up, because I helped others, and because I wake up every day with a purpose." The reporter nodded, understanding his words. She asked, "What advice would you give to young people who want to be successful?" Jackie thought for a moment and then said, Believe in yourself even when no one else does. Work hard, be kind to others, and remember, success is not something you take. It is something you give. After the reporter left, Jackie walked back to his classroom. The children ran to him, laughing and calling, "Teacher! Teacher!" He laughed with them and picked up a piece of chalk. Another lesson was about to begin. But inside, Jackie knew the most important lesson was already written, not on the board, but in his life. Success is not a destination. Success is a journey. It is becoming better than you were yesterday. It is lifting others as you rise. It is staying true to who you are, no matter how far you go. And in that quiet moment, surrounded by smiling children and a simple village, Jackie felt something he would never forget. He had truly succeeded. After many years, Jackie's life had changed a lot, but some things stayed the same. He was still the kind, hard-working boy from the small village who believed in dreams. Now, Jackie was a teacher. He helped many children learn and grow. Some of his students traveled a long way to study in his classroom because they had heard about how good a teacher he was. Jackie's old school had become better too. It had more books, clean classrooms, and students who wanted to learn. Even though Jackie had come far, he still lived simply. He helped his parents every day and stayed close to his village. One day, Jackie sat outside his house after a busy day teaching. The stars were shining in the dark sky, and the air was quiet and calm. He thought about the word success. What did it really mean? When Jackie was young, he thought success meant having a big house, a nice car, or living in a city. But now he knew the truth. Success was about how much a person grows and changes. It was about believing in yourself even when others don't believe in you. And the most important thing, success was about helping others, sharing what you have learned, and lifting people up. Jackie remembered the children in his classroom. Many of them were poor, but their eyes were full of hope. He saw himself in those children. When they learned something new and smiled, Jackie felt happiness in his heart. That was true success. A reporter came to Jackie's school one day. She asked him, "Do you feel successful now?" Jackie smiled and said, "Yes, because I never gave up, I helped others, and I wake up every day with a purpose." The reporter then asked, "What advice would you give to young people?" Jackie thought carefully and said, "Believe in yourself, even if others don't believe in you. Work hard, be kind, and remember that success is not something you take, it is something you give." After the interview, Jackie went back to his students. They called him "Teacher!" happily. He laughed and picked up chalk to begin the next lesson. Jackie knew that the most important lesson was not written on the board, it was in his life. Success is a journey, not a destination. It is about becoming better than you were before. It is about helping others as you rise. It is about staying true to yourself. And with that thought, Jackie felt proud and happy. He knew that his story could inspire others to follow their dreams. Thank you very much for listening to Jakey's story today. I hope you found it helpful for your English practice. Remember, learning English takes time and patience. Every word you read, listen to, and speak helps you improve. You can watch this video again and practice speaking with the story. Repeating words and sentences helps your memory and pronunciation. Try writing your own sentences or telling the story in your own words. This is a great way to build confidence. Learning a new language is not always easy, but it is very rewarding. Stories like Jakey's not only help you learn English, but also teach important lessons about life and success. Keep believing in yourself and keep practicing every day. Small steps make big changes. If you want to learn more, I have many more videos with interesting stories and useful English lessons. Thank you for spending your time with me today. I am proud of you for choosing to learn and grow. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and never give up. English is a skill you can master, and I am here to help you along the way. Have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye for now, and keep learning.